No donut.
Swap this all around.
6 o'clock. All right.
Yeah. Yep, we're good.
Call to order the Hollister Airport Advisory Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 26th at 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Chairman Stefora,
Present.
Vice Chairman Houston,
Here?
Commissioner Meyer,
Here.
Sunseri,
Here?
Wells,
Here.
Salinas,
Present.
Sterrett,
Here.
I am here.
Great. Number 4, verification of the agenda posting.
The agenda for the Airport Advisory Commission of the City of Hollister meeting of June 26, 2019 was posted on the bulletin board of City Hall on June 20th at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you. The consent to approve the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as posted.
Is there- Seconded. Is there any opposed?
Which
This is number 5.
Number 5, Fred.
May 22nd?
For May
Yes.
22nd.
Okay, I approve it.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, public input. We have a card.
We do? Ruth Erickson?
Ruth, please.
Well, first I have a little bit of unhappy news. I just heard that somebody that most of you know or knew, Joe Robinson, passed away. You know Joe. Most of you probably know Joe. Anyway, his funeral is July 3rd, 11 a.m. at St. Benedict's Church, if you're interested, and a reception to follow in town. I just heard this morning. This is only partly on the agenda. This is why I said to Mike, it's partly. You know about the July 4th event. And of course, if anybody else would like to volunteer, we are here to accept volunteers. Marge has already accepted volunteer for me, and I know that 2 or 3 of you are already working with the planes, so if anybody else who is not already signed up, I need some volunteers. So just let me know. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Is there any other public input? Hearing none, moving on. Reports, 7A, the AIP 21.
So the first round of FAA grants was awarded, and we were not on that list. We reached out to the FAA, and it was good news. So when we were in the process of designing the taxiway project, the FAA added some work to the project that they wanted to see get done. But they did not add any dollars to the project at that time. So when the bids came in, when we did the bid process, we did the additional work as additional bids, so add alternate bids. So we have enough money to cover the primary work, which was taxiway K, and part of the additional work, which was the realignment of taxiway Bravo down at the 3-1 end. And then at alternate number 1 was the realignment down at the 2-4 end of 2-4. And we did not have enough money for that. And then the at alternate number 2, which we also did not have enough money for, was to actually put the taxiway lights in after we redid all this, because we were going to have to go back to reflectors. The electrical work was $1 million all by itself. We received a call last night and another call this morning. And what the FAA has asked us to do is prepare 3 applications for federal money. One at the base bid, one at the base bid plus the first alternate, and one at the base bid but plus both alternates. I will also let them know, I've met with the finance director, the funding is secure for all 3 grants, should we get them. And I've also let the FAA know that we're prepared to match, not only do our money, but the state's money also, if the state cannot provide us the state funds. But the state has been in contact with us, and they have indicated that they will fully fund all 3. So this is all really good news. So it is still a to be continued, but I would anticipate a decision in the next few weeks. Our bids are good for 90 days, and we opened them, I think, June 1st, I think was when it was. So we still have some time, and we plan on reaching out to the low bidder here shortly to let them know what's going on.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead.
Did you say that the state may have the funds, or they actually have the funds?
Depends. Usually the state has the funds, but the state legislature likes to steal the funds. And I use the word steal because they say they're borrowing, but then they never pay it back. So they have been hit and miss for the last 10 years? 10 years when it comes to funding. So, like I said, it may or may not. Sometimes we get matching funds, sometimes we do not. But we are prepared to pay for their share too in order to secure the $6 million in grants.
So we have the funds in the event they don't come through and we get the grants?
That is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, moving on. 7B, the TPA change.
Checked, the FAA has taken no action yet.
Is there a deadline for that? It just, when it happens, it happens.
Yep, it's
Okay.
submitted, it's pending their workload.
Okay. Item 7C, oh, please, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there a time period to bring it back, or how do you have it calendared, you're following up every so often? How do, to bring it back?
Since it's on here, we check monthly to see if
Yeah,
they've
it's-
taken any action.
We'll keep it on the agenda until it's resolved. 7C, the fly-in.
So we had our final meeting yesterday. The team leaders are squared away. We're prepared for a pretty good event. Rumor has it we're going to have some pretty rare World War II aircraft out there. But like anything that was around in World War II, they can be temperamental, so no promises. But I would encourage you to come out and take a look-see because I'm sure we'll have something out there that's pretty spectacular. It's an open house. There's no admission, so we're basically running 3 different events. We're going to have the fly-in, and then we're transitioning into a concert, and then we transition into fireworks after that. So I believe the individual is bringing in some aircraft is planning on flying around 8 o'clock, doing a little bit of flying then in the pattern. I just want to state this is not an air show, and so don't be expecting an air show.
Has the TV ad been running? People have seen it? Okay. Wonderful. Any other questions?
Oh,
The fly-in?
TV ad. I thought you said TBM. I'm like, huh? So, sorry, I have some airplanes on my mind.
No
Yes,
problem.
the TV ad is running in English and Spanish.
Great. All right. 7D, bylaws.
In front of you, you have a set of bylaws, and I would call your attention to the last page. And I'm the only one who doesn't have one in front of me. So when I took the time change to the city clerk, she required us to take it to council to have it ratified, which was not in our process. So what I'm trying to do is update the bylaws to reflect that process. So I added the last sentence: upon a successful vote, the proposed amendment shall be presented to the city council for ratification at the next regularly scheduled city council meeting. So if you agree with this change, in August, it'll go to council to be ratified, and then we will match the process that the city clerk wishes to use.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to accept this change.
That is correct.
As is. Is there a motion to do that, or do, oh,
Dean Judd, Hangar 28.
sure.
The question I have is, does this mean any changes that the commission decides on cannot go into effect until they're ratified?
That is correct.
Is that explicit? In other words, we're sort of, if this was in effect now, we'd still be meeting at 6:30.
This
This meeting.
this was the process I had to go through to meet at 6 o'clock. I took it to council 3 meetings ago, so it's already been done for the 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
But I need the bylaws to reflect
Okay.
the process that the city clerk wants to use.
All right. Thank you.
So the 6 o'clock is a non-issue.
Yeah, that's
It's
a non-issue.
just- Yeah,
Any
Yeah.
future.
This
Right.
just makes the language match the process for the 6 o'clock.
does anybody else have any questions? Like to formally make the motion?
I make a motion that we accept the changes to the bylaws, or the addition to the bylaws.
Do we have? You have a second? Any opposed? Okay, so we accept it as it is.
Thank you.
All right. 7E, the Elks.
So this item was asked to be brought up because the city council directed the city attorney to prepare a letter to be sent to the Elks in closed session. This is a city attorney this is a item in closed session that the council has jurisdiction over. So if anybody has any specific concerns, I can forward them to the city attorney's office, but we can't discuss it because this is city council closed session item.
All right, so we're going to remove this item from our agenda and talk.
Can't remove it. It's just-
We're going to table the discussion at this time, and if there's questions, we can ask after for clarification. Item 7F.
7F, sorry, I'm tired and the days are blending all together.
Yeah.
I think about 3 weeks ago, I was contacted by the planning department. They were doing a pre-zone review of actually it was the environmental impact report on a series of greenhouses that were going to be built between the airport and Wright Road. When I reviewed the document, there was no mention of any impact to aeronautical activities in the report. It was never examined. So I contacted the planning department and said, since this is on zone 6 and it is a overflight area, it's within the traffic pattern overflight area, that they were going to be required to analyze any impacts on aircraft because they were planning on illuminating the greenhouses at night. And that could conceivably create a night vision issue with a pilot at the most critical time when they're coming into land. So they will be following the FAA process to conduct that analysis, and then it will proceed after that.
Any questions?
So I just have a statement based on that, because I did have to go, you're not giving us a packet, so I had to go research it myself. And those greenhouses are actually not set up to state regulations, so that means something that you might want to bring up with the planning department.
Do you have any documentation to that effect?
You can research it on the state.
But
That
you're
would
ma- You're
exceed-
making the statement, though.
I'm making a
so-
statement that those greenhouses are not up to state regulations with regards to cannabis.
That
That
exceeds
is so-
our
It's
authority.
regarding, it's
and-
regarding the lighting of the greenhouses. So that's exactly what your issue
Okay.
is the lighting is not set to regulations, so you may want to
Where
further
can
ask
we get
questions
more
on that.
information about that?
You probably want to contact your cannabis, what is Maria's title?
I don't know.
Maria Mendez's, she's the cannabis person here in town.
I've managed to stay away from this stuff
Yeah.
for 47 years, so.
What was her last name?
Mendez.
Oh, okay. Any other questions? All right, number 8, old business. Nothing on the agenda. Number 9, new business. Also, nothing on the agenda. So, number 12, items, I guess it should be 10. Items for the next agenda, I'm looking at, looks like 7A, 7B, and
See,
C will be done by August.
but you're going to want to report.
Yeah, sure. So C for status, we've done the bylaws.
T will be an update to let you know what the council said.
Okay, we're tabling E, and F, we can get an update on that as well.
Well, there won't be one. It'll come back when
When
it's
it-
going to be months.
Okay. All right. The next meeting date is set for August 28th. There's no July meeting. Are any other questions?
Nope.
Could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second?
I'll second.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. It's a record.